The start of 1970 marked a new chapter in the Zodiac's campaign of terror. He began sending even more cryptic, boastful, and chilling letters. And now, his communications weren't just addressed to law enforcement. They were delivered to newspapers, schools, and even private citizens. No one felt safe. In a letter dated April 20th, 1970, the Zodiac claimed to have killed 10 people. He included a diagram of a bomb he threatened to detonate on a school bus, a promise that caused widespread panic. The sketch was disturbingly technical. It described a remote detonation mechanism and even included a timer. Police, for the first time, had to consider the terrifying possibility that the killer had engineering knowledge. Every school bus in the Bay Area was now escorted by patrol vehicles. Parents were terrified. Teachers stood watch. The children, too young to grasp the full gravity, whispered stories of the Zodiac during recess. But the bombs never came, and perhaps that was the point. Fear was his real weapon. On June 26, 1970, another letter arrived. This time, the Zodiac included a map of Mt. Diablo, a mountain range located in Contra Costa County. On it, he had drawn a crosshair. He instructed readers to use the symbol to locate a future bomb site. The only missing variable? The Zodiac hadn't provided the radian measurement, a mathematical clue he claimed was essential. This message once again showed a mixture of cruelty and arrogance. He played with authorities like a puppeteer with marionettes. Codebreakers tried everything. Mathematical experts were consulted. Cryptanalysts pored over the diagrams. Amateur sleuths submitted hundreds of theories, but none of them led to a bomb. And once again, the fear remained, but no physical violence followed. The Zodiac's reign was now psychological. But even as the bomb threats mounted, another tragedy occurred. On the night of March 22, 1970, a young woman named Kathleen Johns was driving with her 10-month-old daughter near Modesto, California. A car pulled up behind her, flashing its lights and honking. The man told her that her rear wheel was wobbling and offered to help. When she pulled over, he appeared to loosen the lug nuts instead of fixing them. Moments later, as she drove off, the wheel detached completely. He returned, offering her a ride to a nearby gas station. What followed was a harrowing 2-hour ordeal. Kathleen later described how the man drove erratically, past turnoffs, and made cryptic statements. When he stopped briefly, she escaped into a field with her baby and hid until help arrived. When shown a police sketch of the Zodiac, she identified him as her abductor. A month later, the Zodiac claimed responsibility for the kidnapping in one of his letters. But authorities were divided. Some doubted the story. Others believed her testimony added yet another dimension to the Zodiac's growing list of crimes. Either way, the public was again reminded the Zodiac wasn't done. Throughout the summer and fall of 1970, the Zodiac sent multiple letters, and each was more cryptic than the last. One included a Halloween card sent to reporter Paul Avery at the San Francisco Chronicle. Inside, a chilling message: "Peekaboo, you are doomed." Another featured a cipher that remained unsolved for decades, known as the 340 cipher. It wouldn't be cracked until 2020. The Zodiac was now mocking the very idea of justice. His tone had shifted, from manic and boastful to eerily playful. His words teased, hinted, and eluded clarity. Like a magician performing tricks in plain sight, he left behind fragments of truth disguised as riddles. Behind the scenes, law enforcement faced mounting pressure. They were overwhelmed. The leads were cold. Forensic science in the 1970s lacked the sophistication needed to analyze DNA or extract detailed trace evidence. Multiple jurisdictions, Vallejo, Napa County, San Francisco, all had their own files, suspects, and procedures. Communication between departments was patchy at best. The Zodiac was benefiting from this disarray. There were moments of near breakthrough. A man matching his description was stopped near a crime scene. Tips came flooding in weekly. Sketches were refined, but there was no arrest. Suspects were interrogated. Paul Avery himself received threats, and for a time, he wore a bulletproof vest. Still, no suspect matched every detail. the Zodiac remained a ghost in plain sight. As 1970 ended, the Zodiac's messages began to slow. In March 1971, the Los Angeles Times received a letter in which the Zodiac claimed responsibility for the 1966 murder of Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside. He suggested the police had ignored this crucial connection. But Riverside police were skeptical. The letter was never authenticated, though the possibility lingered. Had the Zodiac's crimes extended even further than initially believed? The final letter of this period, sent in July 1971, once again threatened schoolchildren. But it was brief, uncharacteristically short, and lacked the flair of earlier messages. Some theorists suggest the Zodiac was growing tired, or perhaps he had moved elsewhere, or, worse still, changed his identity entirely. To be continued, the Zodiac Killer had managed to manipulate media, terrorize the public, and confound police, all while hiding in plain sight. His ability to remain unidentified, despite the volume of letters, crimes, and clues, defied logic. As the case moved into 1972 and beyond, the question remained: was the Zodiac gone, or simply watching and waiting?